Hey, Carly. Hey, Jana. Hey, Leticia. Good to see everybody. Hey, Nate. Oh, Sierra's got her hand up. Yes, please, Sierra.
Can everyone hear me okay? I am new here, but I wanted to share that this month is Library Fest week. So in Durham, we have Library Fest every year, and it's to celebrate National Library Week, and it's our way of doing basically 1,000 programs within 1 week and letting the community know what we have to offer. And this year, we decided to collaborate again with small businesses, and we have 19 businesses who will be selling literary themed items, and they keep the revenue from their sales and we collect the numbers and statistics. And we're really excited because we have a Ferdinand latte at a local coffee shop. We have a rainbow coffee cake in honor of the book A Case of the Stripes, that children's book. And so every local shop and restaurant and other small businesses downtown are really excited about joining us this year. So we're very happy about that.
I love that idea. That's so cool. Anybody else want to share anything?
I'd be happy to share something. This is Jay with Seattle Public Library. I'm here in one of our computer labs today, and there's an adjoining lab over here where entrepreneurs are getting some training from a local partner called the GSBA. And so they reached out to me and just said, Jay, do you have some space? We're doing our accelerator program. And I said, you know what? I could do my work in this room. You do that in the adjoining room. I'll just kind of go back and forth between. It's been wonderful. So we had 4 entrepreneurs here this morning. In the next half hour, 4 more will join, and Tareya Miller is like over there, teaching them. But it's also a really wonderful way for me to, stop over and just say, "Hey, did you know you can book time with the librarian?" To so making those connections. So anyway, you might even see Tareya like walk in this door sometime today.
Sounds like a great day. Thanks for sharing, Jay. Anybody else have announcements? Anne says hi in the chat. She's working on Made at NPL. Very cool. I'm hearing nothing from other people, so I'll start with my announcements and come back around. Oh, there's Maddie. Hey, Maddie. Hey, Chantal.
Hey, I have news.
Oh, well, yes, go for it.
I have fun news. I submitted the vendor project with, complementing the support that we had from ALA and Google, and we won a ULC Innovation Award.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
Yay. So I'll send you the info, whatever they said. They just notified us yesterday, but I don't know. It's not really a huge deal, but I was like, oh, that's exciting. We got recognized.
Yeah, so. No, share the link to whatever write-up they do. We'd love to see that.
We have to produce a video.
Ooh.
That's what they want. They want a video, and now I have to scramble with my PR team to produce a video in a week. Thank you, Elizabeth. That is nice to say. I guess I feel like I don't win awards much, so I don't know like what the award people crew think of. I don't know. Is it a big award? Is it a small award? Is it a award of note? But anyway, I think it's kind of fun and exciting. So I was eager to share it.
Yeah, congratulations. Thank you.
Okay.
So next month is the ELC pitch competition, and we have some finalists, some pitchers in our midst today. I see Jen and Carly, so both the Rochester Library and the Baltimore County Library have been selected as finalists. I'm not sure if any of the other finalists are here. If you are, make yourself known. But I don't know, and I don't mean to call you out, Jen or Carly, but if you want to say anything cool about your project or what you're planning for your pitch, we celebrate with you. We'd love to hear about it.
My pitch, the title of my pitch is The Accidental Cannabis Czar. And I will be discussing helping the legacy community operate in a legal fashion.
Some of you, I think that was November, right, Jen, when you talked to LBB. So some of you might remember that.
Yep.
Hi, Megan. I don't want to give away the surprise for mine, but I will say that the pitch has to do with helping formerly incarcerated individuals start their own businesses. So that's just a teaser, but that's the gist.
Carly, what are you doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow?
Yeah, isn't tomorrow a special day?
I don't know if I'm thinking of the same thing as you.
I'll just tell everyone because now I made it weird, but Carly and I have a birthday tomorrow.
Oh my God. I was thinking it was a work-related event, and I was like, I took off tomorrow, so I hope it's not a work-related event. We're birthday twins, the only
Happy
person I
birthday,
know with my
Carly.
birthday. Yeah, happy birthday, Megan. Yay.
What else? Sorry, Carly, that was a weird thing. So the ELC pitch competition, that's May 4th, and we'll do that in place of the May LBB meeting. So if you're part of this community and you usually show up to these meetings, come in support of the finalists and hear the pitches. There's an audience choice award, so you get to also vote on one of the pitches. It should be a lot of fun. So I'll send out registration info for that after this meeting or later this week, but plan to do that, and that will be in place of our usual community discussion. So that's that. Some of you have already heard me say, but we are planning a happy hour at ALA annual conference. So if you're planning to attend conference, it's in Chicago this June. Save the date and time, Saturday evening, 5-ish p.m. We're still working out the details of where, the location, but I will share that with the group when I know it, but definitely save, it's definitely gonna be Saturday evening after the conference is over. So come hang out. It's co-sponsored with LBB, ALA Brass, and the Libs Work Group. So anybody that's interested in entrepreneurship, small business, workforce development, economic development, we'd love to network with you. It's a networking mixer to kind of hang out with all of your friends, maybe from this community or from Brass, that maybe you haven't met in real life before. So come hang out at annual. Let's see what else. Oh, and PLA submissions are open. So those close on May 1st. PLA 2024 is going to be in Columbus, Ohio in early April. If you have something to submit, keep that date in mind, please do. We'd love to see you there. I'm going to submit something. So yeah, hope to see you there. And then finally, for anybody in the DC area, we are also, ALA is doing a National Library Week event on April 28th. That's a Friday on the Hill. I think people that we know are local-ish received an invite, but if you didn't receive an invite, let me know. We'd love to have our library community there. This is an opportunity for us to showcase the impact of libraries in the entrepreneurship ecosystem to a new audience, to a decision maker audience. So we're really excited about that. We've been talking for the last few years about how great libraries are to other libraries and sharing our resources. But now we want to kind of make sure that other people are aware of the work that's being done and how libraries are really important stakeholders in that. And that's a really nice segue to our main topic today, which is about messaging your business program to various audiences, including to elected officials and decision makers. So with that, I will introduce Audrey Barbakoff from Collab Capacity. Audrey, do you want to just introduce yourself?
Hi all. I know many of you from being part of this some of this kind of work. So I am in library consulting currently, running CoLab capacity. But prior to that, I was the community engagement and economic development manager at King County Library System. So that the economic development half there covering our services related to small business, job seekers, financial literacy, career-connected education. So I come to this work with a real background in direct service and support, as well as my, consulting related work in things like communication and strategy. So I'm really excited to be able to bring those together and to have to be working on a communications toolkit to help get the word out about all of the amazing work that all of you are doing.
Thanks, Audrey. Does anybody else have questions or comments before we officially kick off our presentation? Okay, awesome. Yeah, Jim, can you start us with the slides? Great. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about our new Libraries Build Business Communications Toolkit. We'll be doing a little bit of training on the different resources that we've made available. And like I said, we also welcome any feedback you have on the tools, as we haven't finalized them, and we have a couple of weeks before we officially publicize this toolkit. So I'd love to get your feedback on that. Jim, you can go to the next slide. Okay, so just briefly where this came from and the overview. Many of you, of course, know the playbook that was geared towards the library audience, that it contains all of our promising practices and models to create a best practice for a small business or entrepreneurship initiative. We also put out an initiative highlights report last year that demonstrated the impact kind of at the individual level, the local community level, the library level, and on small businesses. And with our 13 initial cohort libraries, there were nearly 15,000 program participants in the course of the 18-month grant period. So we really wanted to be able to kind of message and showcase some of the impact now that we have some of that. And we thought that libraries would also be great partners in doing that work. And of course, really doing that in your own communities as a key part of sustaining your work. So that's kind of the idea of where this toolkit came from. It's just to help you promote the work that you're doing and talk to key stakeholders about that work. Targeted communication helps increase your awareness, and it encourages partnerships and information sharing, and it can even change the public perception of the library. I think we all know, especially when we were first starting your small business work, of conversations you would have where with people that didn't even realize the libraries did things beyond like story time, or they brought their kids to the library, but they didn't know there were resources for themselves. So that's kind of the idea here. Next slide. And I think here I'm passing it to Audrey to take it away.
Yeah. So, after all of that initiative report and the playbook, after all of that amazing work came together, and Megan and I had connected, and she said, how do we get the word out about all of the amazing things that people are doing? And we talked about like, what can ALA do at the national level, or even maybe at the state level, but we recognize that the people who can really reach communities, right, who can really reach the key stakeholders who have an influence on how the community perceives the library, that's you, right? That's all of you. People have these strong relationships with their local libraries. So we wanted to offer this toolkit to help you spread the word, right? To help empower you and make it easier and faster for you to communicate with some of the key stakeholders in your communities. So we identified 4 key audiences. The first being the users, right? Your small business owners and entrepreneurs and potential entrepreneurs. We identified business support organizations. There are a lot of these that function in different ways. These are things like your chambers and your downtown associations, SCORE, the SBA. These can also be nonprofits that are serving, either broadly or serving like individual cultural groups, for example. So the wide range of business support organizations, educational organizations fall in here as well. But these kind of formal organizations that are doing things to support entrepreneurs. Then we have elected officials, community leaders, and funders. These are not necessarily the folks who are the direct users of your service, but these are the folks that you want them to understand the range of what you do, right? You want them to know that you're not just story time, you're not just books, right? That when they're thinking about how their support for the library, that they're aware of the really impactful work that you're doing. And the other audience that came up as we were talking to people was other library staff. The people who are, who are not you, who are not an immediate champion in their library. How do you get your frontline, right, your circulation or reference desk, clerks or paraprofessionals? How do you get other librarians where this isn't their area of focus, right? How do you get anyone who might be interacting with the public or any of these other three stakeholders? How do you get them? What do they need to know? How do you get them on board? Next slide. So we're going to talk a little bit about each of them, and we're just going to demo one or two of the tools. So small business owners and entrepreneurs, they are, of course, people who own, run, have started, or are considering starting a business in your community, right? They're the people who are coming to your programs and using your resources. So what are our goals when we communicate with this group? We want them to know, talk about, and use the stuff we offer, right? Our resources, our services, and programs. So we want that awareness and that use. And the other goals is we might want their feedback, right? We want to know, we want to hear from them what they want from us. And sometimes they're potential partners. So there was actually, right, a great example just at the beginning of this meeting, right? Of, business owners offering like the library week latte, right? Like I love that. So that's not always a primary goal with this group, but it can be sometimes. So what are the messages and the tools that we can use to get this goal, to accomplish these goals? The key message we want to share with this group is that the library can save your business time and money. Next slide. So what are some of the tools that are in the communications toolkit to help you connect with the stakeholder group? There's a presentation for a 15-minute, like a 15-minute presentation template. There's a template for a 15-minute presentation. There we go, putting the words in the right order. The title is "This Presentation Could Save You $6,000." So this is like you've been invited to, to speak to a group of entrepreneurs. It's a group of people who come together for, that could be at like a chamber lunch. It could be speaking to a co-working space, right? It could be a business, networking brown bag event. So a fairly quick presentation, really focused on that, saving you time and money, kind of eye-catching. All of these templates are designed so that you can easily plop in your library's name and branding and adjust it for, the services and programs that you offer. There's an email template for reaching out to small business owners and entrepreneurs to start building a relationship with them. There's a sample press release, sample social media posts, key talking points, and a sample blurb for a newsletter or blog. And I'll kick that back over to either Megan or Jim.
Thanks, Audrey, and thank you, Jim. Yeah, so we will see how this goes. Yeah, Jim's got it up. Great. So we just wanted to run through a couple of the different tools with you to kind of show you how they look and what they are. So the PowerPoint comes, this is the PDF version, but of course there's a PowerPoint downloadable version, which is fully editable, as Audrey mentioned, where you can insert, you can see our designer has even left comments in there about how to plug in your info. She has some guidance on fonts and colors as well. So everything where you could put in your own library's info has been identified. So yeah, Jim, if you just want to kind of scroll through slowly here. So an example place where you can plug in a local example or use our example. The talking points that we put together include the background that you would need to tell that story about Freddie Leafsoft, but you could also use your own local story.
I'll just jump in. When you see this in the PowerPoint format, in the notes section, you have a script.
Yes.
Right? You don't see that in the PDF, but there's a script for you.
There's also a separate document that provides the script as well.
Yep, so we have the talking points are all, like Audrey said, in the PowerPoint version, and then also, yeah, as a PDF as well. So just to kind of give you an overview of this, but yeah, you could definitely brand it with any of your own information or change out the icons, and of course customize the information based on what your library offers. So like with this slide here, you know, I don't think St. Louis County is here, but I know the Urban Libraries does the small business value calculator. So the similar idea, I think even St. Louis County came up with like the number $13,000 a year or something really impressive like that. So this would vary depending on the resources and services that you offer and how they are valued locally. But we hope this is a nice place to start and get you thinking about the services that you offer and the way that they impact the local business community and can save money there. So that's the presentation. Any comments or questions on that? And then, yes, the other one we wanted to show you today, just as an example, are the social media posts. The same thing. This is just a PDF, but you can copy paste any of this directly into Twitter or other social media to promote. So we recommend using hashtags. We have some other tips, like, you know, for example, tagging the business that you're working with or want to get their attention. But the main idea with the social media, this type of social media, we'll talk about another time, is to get the attention of businesses so that they know the whens and wheres of your program, and that they can find you and know about what you're offering and that they're welcome to attend. So that's, go ahead.
I was just going to say briefly that these are meant to be like a inspiration as much as they are a template.
Yeah, so yeah,
the general idea is to visualize what a social media post would look like, not just the content.
Any questions or thoughts on those? Okay, I think we'll pass it back to Audrey. Thank you.
All right, let's talk about business support organizations. So again, these can be governmental, they can be organizational, you know, like a company, might be educational, they might be cultural. Again, you know, an organization maybe that serves, you know, new arrivals to the country from a certain background, and they offer an array of services that maybe include, right, helping people get jobs or start businesses. And they also might be social organizations. If you have something like Green Drinks or 1 Million Cups, right, where people get together and kind of where business owners, you know, get together in kind of a social way. So what are our goals in communicating with business support organizations? Again, primarily we want education and awareness, right? We want them to know that the library is there, has something to offer. You know, we want them to know when to turn to us. So there's that educational and awareness raising goal. And there's also a potential goal of cross referrals. You know, these are organizations, they maybe pay, they're often free or low cost, but they're still looking to, you know, grow their user base just as the library is. So oftentimes they're a really great source of cross referrals. A lot of business support organizations have a fairly specific focus. And so the library, right, as you know, is a great place for them to refer people to, right, when there's something that's outside of their direct purview. They can refer them to the library. Similarly, when someone comes to us with a really, you know, detailed or specific question, you know, where they need a lot of expertise, then we know who to refer them to, right, to get the advice that, you know, that we are going to be able to give them directly. That becomes a really important resource. So that cross referral relationship can be really important. And then these are often our potential partners, right? Our SCORE, our Chamber of Commerce, when we're putting on educational programs, right? offering services. These are often the folks that we work with. So partnerships are a big goal with this group. So the message that we want business support organizations to hear is that the library can help you grow your client base and serve your clients better. So what are the tools that we're providing to help with this? Similarly, a 15-minute presentation template, but this time focused on the goals of building partnership, right? Raising awareness of the types of resources. We have an email template for introducing yourself, introducing the library, right, to new potential partners, to support organizations you don't have a relationship with yet. We also have a takeaway, a handout, a flyer template on why they should partner with the library, a set of talking points, a tip sheet on connecting with these support organizations, and a bookmark with library resources. So, this group isn't necessarily going to remember every single resource the library has, but we want them to know generally what we have and to have some takeaways that they can come back to, right? That make it easy for them to remember to come and look at our resources and talk to us.
Great, and we'll just show you briefly a couple of those tools that Audrey mentioned. So the first, this is the flyer about supporting local small business. So easy, again, to just plug in your specific information. We've included a great quote here from a partner that works with our Baltimore County Public Library, but you can use that one just to kind of demonstrate the overall impact of libraries and communities, or if you have a great quote from your own community, your own program, you can change that out. And the same with the benefits to you and the benefits to your clients. If you wanted to adjust those, you'd be welcome to, but they're otherwise fairly ready to, they're flexible enough that we think that you could use them as is as well. And then we would just show you the PowerPoint as well for this. Okay. And as Audrey mentioned, this one is slightly different because the talking points are different for the different audience. But kind of the same general idea, just a quick 15-minute shares the information about what the library can do with this audience. And of course, fully customizable to your library. Any questions or comments on these? Yes, Julie, and I just, I sent that note to our designer. Sorry, I didn't even realize we hadn't changed it on this graphic yet. Yes, thank you for noticing that. Anybody else? Okay, well, let's keep going.
Excellent. So I think the two audiences we've talked about so far are the ones that we are most accustomed to communicating with, right? And we might be less sure of how to communicate about our business services with elected officials, community leaders, and funders, because these are groups that do not necessarily need a whole lot of detail about what we offer, right? They don't necessarily need to know a lot of individual specific resources that they personally are going to use. What we do want them to know is that the library is an important part of the small business ecosystem. We want them to have an awareness of the important role that the library is playing in supporting a thriving local economy in their community. Another goal that we have for this group oops, sorry, Jim, can you hop back for a second?
Not bad.
You're good. That we have for this group that's different from the others is one of our primary goals is support and advocacy. So this might be fiscal, right? Depending on how you're funded. If you are getting your funding out of a city or county general fund, right? You certainly need those elected officials or those city managers to understand your value. So that can directly impact your budget. If you're going to voters, right? Certainly having other community members who understand what you do and value it is important. It might also be, social support, just talking about the library, being an active vocal supporter of the library, someone who is a visible community leader. And it might also be political support, right, on those times when you go to voters. So the key message here is that the library is helping you accomplish your goal of a thriving and resilient local economy for all. Right, so we want to show here that we are aligning with their goals. Right, we're not doing something separate. So some of the tools, again, a short presentation template. This one's a bit different from the others. An email template for raising awareness. A flyer or leave behind template that focuses on the overall economic value of the library rather than on its specific services. A sort of a feel-good press release, right? They call it the happy brief. A tip sheet on building relationships with electeds, and a worksheet on identifying your local leaders so that you know who to reach out to.
Thanks, Audrey. So we'll just walk you through a couple of the tools here. So one is this leave behind. Again, this is just something that you can put together really quick with some high level impact data. We've done some from what we learned about Libraries Build Business here, and a nice quote from the Spokane County Library, a participant in their program. But you can use that, or of course plug in something from a participant in one of your local programs. But just something so when you're meeting with elected officials or decision makers, something that they can have with them that has all of the information from your discussion. And then the other one that we wanted to highlight today is just some tips for building relationships. I think the elected official audience is often the most intimidating for library workers and library staff. So we wanted to just provide some high-level tips on how to have a successful meeting, what kinds of things to think about in advance, what to bring with you, that kind of thing. Yes, Sierra, everything should have a place where you can plug in your logo on everything. And that's it, unless people have questions on these tools or comments. Back to you, Audrey.
All right. Pardon me, a bit of a throat tickle. All right, so our last audience is library staff. These are your colleagues who do not work directly with small business services. Goodness. So some of our primary goals here is general awareness of who and how the library can help, right? You don't need every shelver or page or clerk in your library to be an expert in how to help patrons with every resource you offer. But you do want them to know when the library can help, right? And who to reach out to and where to look. Staff who are not doing this work on a daily basis may feel intimidated by the idea of working with or talking to business owners, right? Or trying, because they themselves don't feel like they have a lot of expertise necessarily in business topics, right? So the message we want for staff is that that's okay. You do not have to be a business expert, right? And you don't have to be an expert in every resource we have. You just need to know who we can serve and where to go for support. So some of the tools we have here, talking points for staff, some real world examples and stories to help people contextualize, and kind of a job description for a volunteer, program evaluation resources, and an asset mapping tool. And there's a question in the chat, where did that stat come from about $1 in the library generates $5 in the economy? There are a whole bunch of studies on that, but there was one meta study that pulled together a bunch of them, and I think I'll try to drop the citation in the chat for you, unless Megan or Jim, you have that handy.
I'd have to double check, but it's my understanding that the 1 to 5 figure is from a study, I think, done by Ohio State Libraries in particular. And it's also my understanding that there's a figure from Florida that's 1 in 10. So there's a the recurring theme is for every $1, you get more than $1. But yeah, I or Megan will have to get the specific citation on that.
All right, well, back over to, I'll see if I can dig it up to you, but back over to you for a demo.
Thanks, Audrey. We are going to show you, so the library staff, we didn't put together a PowerPoint, but still some talking points for talking with colleagues about the business services and helping them to feel confident in answering business related questions. So that is here. I think Jim has a bigger version.
Yeah, sorry, just 1 second. The panel at the top is getting in the way. So there we go. Okay, so yeah, I actually wanted to introduce the asset mapping worksheet. So
Can we
this
do that
first-
as soon as I'm done with the
my
talking
bad.
points? Okay, so here was the talking points document that I was mentioning. There's not a corresponding PowerPoint. If that's something that your library does, you could definitely repurpose one of the other PowerPoints. But these are just some quick talking points so that other library staff feel confident answering reference questions and just know about the various events and things so they can refer patrons to them. And again, you know, fully customizable to whatever your library offers. And we'll pass it to Jim for the asset map.
All right, sorry about that. So in regards to the asset mapping worksheet, this is a 2-page tool. So the first page here is basically a place where you can take inventory both on what's available at your library and what's available within your community all the way up to the national level. So this will be a fillable document. Well, this is this will be a PDF, but right now it's something that you can fill, and it's also something that you can use to fill in greater detail. So not just the name of something, but address, contact information, additional specific details, maybe how you found out about this sort of thing. And this serves 2 parts. You can approach this a couple different ways. One, you can basically use this to fill out what's available to you off the top of your head, and then the gaps are, perhaps opportunities for you to advertise on behalf of, say, a SCORE mentoring opportunity or something else like that. The second page of the map, there's a couple different ways of using this. First and foremost, you can print this out poster board size and use this as part of a meeting with your fellow library workers. And in the event, this is basically used to help people visualize proximity, as well as like what level they would need to go to in order to properly communicate with said resource. But you can use this in person, you can print this out large, you can make it part of a PowerPoint. And in particular, if you're working with your staff virtually, you can also use a tool like this. There's a number of sticky note applications, for lack of a better term, around. I think there's a Google version as well, but you can also use this to basically collaborate with your workers virtually. But yeah, that's just a quick demo. But there's a lot of different ways to use this map. Are there any questions about the asset map? Oh, Jamboard. Okay, awesome, thank you.
All right, so we want to hear from you. The toolkit is not finalized. You're seeing the pieces. So the question is, are there things that you would like to see, that you would want to change, that would be more helpful for you? Are there ideas you have? We just want to hear your questions and your feedback.
I see Lee's hand up.
Hello.
Hello.
We're doing an exercise with Urban Library Council's business value calculator. I know it was mentioned earlier in the call. And it's been a great exercise to kind of scrub down all the various resources we've got. I don't know if it's comprehensive. You will never get to the very nth degree because of the way data are stored and classified, but we've done a pretty good job, and we're getting near the end of the rainbow with this. And I'm thinking that a lot of that exercise will inform this communication strategy here. I'm going to carry the water back to our marketing manager with some of this content. She's been on point, kind of embedded with our business reference work group at the county library system. But we're trying to do some branding of our own. Business Works at the library, I think, is the brand message we're going forward with. What are your rules or guidelines for branding within branding? Are you okay if we remove the library's build business from the top of your product here, put it at the bottom as we promote the brand? So we don't want too many messages and confusion in this. So just wondering if you've got any guidance for that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. Yeah, I think we fully expect people to use these tools how it best fits for you. So if that just means taking some of the content and putting it in your own format or using your own design, we are open to that. So yeah, don't feel like yeah, it sounds like, you know, there's a lot of great resources out there with ULC or with what maybe your own marketing departments are doing. So hopefully this can be just one tool in your tool belt to better promote your work. And I don't know, Audrey, if you would say anything else beyond that, but I think that's great.
Yeah, no, that's perfect to me. I mean, I think a lot of the intention of templates was for libraries that just don't have the time, right? It's like how many libraries are putting together nearly identical, right, or very similar like PowerPoints. So the intention was to ease some of that. So you don't have to make your own, but you absolutely can.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, so libraries that don't have marketing departments or just helping with some capacity building there. Sierra, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this toolkit. Just to piggyback off of Lee, the ULC Opportunity Action Team that I'm working with is also creating a toolkit, but that is more so focused on how to get into being a business librarian and being in that industry and how to work with that business entrepreneurship group. So as soon as this is finished and ready to go, we can add this toolkit under resources and how to get started and where to go, and here are some things to use and things like that. So I'm happy that it's all coming together. And if you need help or feedback or anything, just let me know. But I like the way it looks. It's at least super helpful.
Thank you for that feedback. Thank you. Anybody else have thoughts or ideas? And some people had asked where we'll find it. So if you need a specific tool or anything right away, let me know. I'm happy to send you the beta version so you can get going. But the official launch we're aiming for at the end of the month. We'll do like a press release and it'll all go up on the website as kind of like one big toolkit PDF with some, you know, text that kind of explains each thing like we did with the training today. But also just like downloadable. So if you just want one of the PowerPoints, or if you just want a handout or a flyer, you can just download those. So that's going up soon. But like I said, if you do need something urgently, if maybe you have a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce next Monday, like let us know. I'm happy to send you something in advance.
This is Susan from Topsom in Maine, and I just want to say thank you, because this is the kind of thing a small library like mine really needs, because then you've done most of the hard work for us. And so all we need to do is put in our stuff, and then we're ready to grab and go. So thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I was thinking the same thing. This is Stacy in Spokane, because a couple of the people that I did peer mentoring with were from like standalone libraries, and they were mostly it, or maybe they had one or two other people. So I appreciate how clear everything is, and how there's like a little bit of a why, and it's not a wall of text, but it's like, here's why you want to fill this in, and this is how this will benefit. So I think it's really clear, and you all did an amazing job. So thank you for your hard work.
It's not all just for your gain. We get something out of it too. We hope that you'll all go and be ambassadors with your local communities and your decision makers, and that we have all of you equipped to do the, I don't know if I can use the word advocacy, the advocacy work for libraries and for your specific library, but it's bigger than just your specific library when you're talking with partners and elected officials and the small business owners. So yes, we are excited for you to use them, and we hope that you feel confident in kind of sharing the good work that libraries are doing in this area, and how libraries continue to be critically important to economic development. Yeah. Jennifer says, when will it go public, and can it be shared with all libraries? Yes, it can be shared with all libraries. We don't have an exact date. Still working on a couple of pieces with the designer, but our aim is for the end of the month. So since the 28th is a Friday, realistically, that actually, I keep saying the end of the month, but it probably is May 1st is what we're looking at, is a Monday. So yeah, so a couple more weeks. We're really close. Most of the tools you saw here today are near final. There's a couple of points. Thank you for my many eyes. We have to correct a couple of things, yes, go ahead.
As a librarian, could you put a CC, common copyright on it, so that people feel good? Not, because you guys are developing it, it belongs to you all, but don't make it public domain, but just put a common copyright, CC4 or something like that on it, so that we feel comfortable, and that we're preaching that we don't violate copyright.
Speaking like a librarian, thank you. Yes, we'll have something like that on the back page of the full toolkit. So anybody that reads all of the materials knows that anything in there is up for grabs. Any other thoughts or questions, or anybody have any good stories about talking to their Chamber of Commerce or their local businesses? Yeah, I know, like Audrey said, we just heard from a few of you at the beginning that have obviously done some good work connecting in your business community just recently. So I'd love to hear how those conversations started, or if you have any tips to share with this group and kicking off those conversations. Well, I'm not hearing anything, so I think maybe we are good to go for today. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you to Audrey for helping us create these materials and leading on putting together all of the great talking points, and also for presenting today. If you have questions for us, let us know. And like I said, stay tuned for the official unveiling of all of these tools. I hope you'll tell your friends. We'd love for you to get started in using them. And please come back on May 4th for the ELC pitch competition and cheer on Carly and Jennifer and the other libraries that are competing this time around. And I'll leave the line open for a couple of minutes if anyone wants to chat one-on-one, but otherwise feel free to move on with your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice work.
Okay, well done. Seemed like people were very enthusiastic and felt like